Alright, so today we're going to be talking about sleeping positions and what you need to know in order to survive the horrors, which I think is a vital skill that we need to practice every day, and that is just really important in our day and age. So here we go. Lying on side. This is the standard position. So long as you don't have limbs overhanging the sides of your bed, you put yourself at a fair amount of risk for a fair amount of gainful sleep. Please just be careful if you happen to be the type to toss and turn, as you are liable to be jump scared if you turn over to the other side of the bed. Fetal position. No limbs exposed, but you are compact and liable to be swallowed whole by some deep-sea creature emerging from the inky blackness. Protects your vital organs and thus makes you safe from anything wanting at your jugular or guts. It's also a good defensive position against bears for this reason. Coffin style. Does not require crossing your arms over your chest, and while doing so may deter vampires, it may also invite the spirit of Ra into your body, and your lungs may fill with sand. This is especially prevalent if you tuck yourself in or fully wrap yourself in blanket. If you don a more relaxed position with your arms, you stand a better chance against the terrors. Please be aware that lying on your back is the optimal angle for cinematic camera work in which a sleep paralysis demon appears at the foot of your bed and begins eating your toes. This is also a poor position for those who suffer from acid reflux. Starfish. Great for heat dissipation. However, this leaves you open to demonic possession. You need a big bed and blanket too, or else your limbs will overhang and be vulnerable to attacks from the Throngler and or Nightmare Freddy, depending on who is under your bed on the given night. Trap card. Conceals both the face and eyes, which is great against doppelgangers, basilisks, Larry, and gorgons. Does lead to reduced airflow and trouble breathing, and increases vulnerability of kidneys to gnome-related theft. Sentinel position. Perfect for whoever wants to embody the male fantasy. This involves sitting upright and only really replicating sleep. A true compromise between gainful rest and protection. Useful against threshold-bound entities like vampires or mortal creatures like your neighbor. Can only reliably be used on occasion, as overuse will leave the person exposed. Nesting. Nothing goes wrong in a pillow fort or blanket nest. This is a totally valid, completely safe option that everyone should use. There are no drawbacks to burying yourself in comfort, and in fact, this works even better with a nightlight. Wow, I feel so comfortable and free of worry in this position, as I should, because I am totally safe and will gain plentiful rest. Paired or mirrored posture. This is a great defensive position that is similar to the more standard laying on your side. The one benefit is this involves another person, and thus you're a little bit more protected. There's one problem though. You need to make sure that whoever you are sleeping with is someone who has plot armor, because otherwise you may be subject to the whole rolling over and getting jump scared by something scenario, but with whoever you're sleeping with. Also probably best to make sure that your partner is not an entity beforehand. If you want that, then that's great. I kind of want that, so, you know. Spooning. This was originally developed during the Reagan administration. This position was developed exclusively for cutlery and those red solo cups that you keep washing and putting in your cupboard. The little spoon is at risk of having their hair eaten by the larger spoon, especially if said big spoon is deficient in vitamins A, B, C, iron, biotin, or omega-3 fatty acids. If feeding your big spoon several servings of fish on a weekly basis does not cure this, then your partner very well may be a cervid, equine, or other ungulate, so please be aware of that. This position prevents the rotating and getting jump scared issue, but the big spoon is liable to wake up with a numb arm from the little spoon sleeping on it, and thus this sleep position has been deemed completely unviable for non-cutlery based life forms. Rotational sleepers. This is perfect for gas station hot dogs, as this helps evenly distribute heat. This also makes it confusing for entities who want to attack you, as you're effectively pulling a Five Nights at Freddy's on them. Please make sure not to over-rotate, because just like Foxy getting mad at you for looking at him, the ghosts of the pigs in the hot dogs will come to get you. Stasis pod. the preferred sleeping quarters of mutant bioengineered half-alien hedgehogs, clones of mutant bioengineered half-alien hedgehogs, and mutant bioengineered whatever this gray guy is. This is the perfect arrangement for anything that might be capable of killing you with its brain. Especially useful for long sleep sessions, like those spanning from 3 to 4 months to indefinitely. The synthetic amniotic fluid of this arrangement can get pricey, and also it tends to be radioactively bright, so only a good option for those who can deal with that. In the closet. Prevents monsters in the closet from manifesting, which is excellent for those who are struggling with this particular entity type. Please do note that you should not do this for prolonged periods of time, or else you will end up being recruited as a monster in the closet. Under the bed. Surprisingly, this is effective at deterring most entities from manifesting. It does not carry the same recruitment risks as sleeping inside the closet, as bed monsters lack the corporate structure of closet monsters. For those that struggle with this sort of thing, remember that whereas closet monsters are more akin to the industrious crocodile, bed monsters are much more like lazy and well-fed alligators. Friend's couch. You will either gain no rest here, or you will get all of the rest here. There really is no in-between on this. You do suffer a high risk of hypothermia if you forget to ask your friend for blankets before they go to bed, so make sure to do that. There's also a high risk of listening to marital dispute through the walls, but thankfully that actually deters most otherworldly entities. They don't want to get involved. Chair. While traditionally reserved for fathers and or the elderly, a good chair nap will be restful and quiet. The only major risks are related to television entities, which only manifest as a result of your slothful nature, so long as you keep that in check, you will sleep in relative safety. Guard post. Depending on what genre of movie you're in, you are more likely to be attacked by the protagonist in this sleeping position. If it is early in the runtime, be aware that you may be the first victim of an entity as a display of its overall capability and ferocious nature, to display to the audience how terrifying it is. In the car. There's a high risk of exposure from multiple angles in this setup, most prominently from whatever is laying in the backseat, and there is something in the backseat. Make sure that you have sufficient levels of plot armor before attempting this, and be aware that no matter how good you think your car is, it will fail to start if it adds to the narrative tension. Carcass of a sci-fi animal. You know, I haven't really, watched the original saga in, decades, and I wasn't even that big on it anyway, and so I feel like I don't really remember the circumstances for which they, have to climb into the carcass of a tauntaun that they just killed. That just seems like a weird thing to do. I guess it's to keep warm. I don't know how effective that would be. I guess you might get, a little bit of time, right? I don't know. That just seems cruel to the tauntaun. Tauntaun friend. Cave. Apparently these are actually really good for napping in. Something like some part of the brain just really enjoys being in dark places, I think. Also, kind of, I don't know, there's something very primal about it. Yeah, you got really tired during some intense extracurricular activities, and you decided that, everything is a surface in a cave. It's not a very good surface for sleeping on necessarily, but it is a surface. You can sleep there, so I don't know. Seems pretty restful. Good thing is, entities don't want any part of whatever the hell is happening in caves, so you're safe from them. Standing up. This is reserved for horses, cows, and Ganondorf at the end of Twilight Princess. Your legs have got to be buff for this sort of thing, but if you can pull it off, you will appear like a badass to all who come across your upright sleeping form. And that is a solid 8 hours of passive aura farming that you're doing, which is great, because what else are you going to be doing while you're asleep? Not sleeping. Yeah, you could do that. Your fan's been working since the 2000s and it hasn't had a break, and you're better than a fan, so go do that. So hey, I don't know how to end videos yet. I spent my skill points on other shit, like how to ask people to like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, you like that? Ah, wow. But really, thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate y'all, and I hope you have an excellent day. I'm gonna leave you here in the dark for a minute, so don't do anything suspicious.